Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. The then 56-year-old R. Kelly was sentenced to 20 years in prison over charges of indulging with young girls in a Chicago federal court, though 19 of those years will be served concurrently with a previous 30-year New York sentence. The Chicago trial was based on allegations from 5 young women who said that they were ill-treated by R. Kelly in the 1990s, and one victim testified under a pseudonym that R. Kelly began indulging with her when she was 14. R. Kelly pleaded not guilty to all the allegations. R. Kelly's Chicago conviction added to a 30-year sentence passed earlier after he was convicted in a New York federal court on charges of racketeering, with sentencing judge Ann Donnelly unfortunately saying his crimes were premeditated and cautiously calculated. At the New York trial, prosecutors called 45 witnesses, 11 of whom alleged that R. Kelly had ill-treated them and some of whom testified to orchestrating R. Kelly's marriage in the 1990s to the late singer Aaliyah, when she was allegedly 15 years old. With all these accusations and legal troubles R. Kelly has gone through over the years, a lot of questions have continuously come up whose appropriate answers tend to contradict all the government's reasoning that led R. Kelly behind bars, causing him all this unnecessary misery and lost time. We can today look at the argument fronted by the government that R. Kelly was mistreating these young women when he was living with them, yet it was obvious that these women were living an extravagantly lavish life. If you describe something as lavish, you mean that it is very intricate and inspiring and that a lot of money has been spent on it. Let's look at this intriguing analysis of events in line with arguments from the different R. Kelly cases. The cases against R. Kelly, the multi-platinum king of R&B, are not only about a sequence of allegations against a single man, but rather a complex situation devoid of dependable evidence from the alleged victims themselves. During the New York federal trial, R. Kelly's lawyer Devereux Cannick said it spun around the historical balance between liberty and injustice in the United States, and the decisions that everyday people make to shift the scale to either side. Cannick began by declaring that R. Kelly was struggling to have his constitutional rights in court, equating him to Martin Luther King Jr. during the civil rights movement. He then urged jurors to question why the testimonies of R. Kelly's accusers now and again varied from their earlier interviews with the government. It was also observed that the accusers had very unusual lengthy preparations before they took to the stand, an action that confirmed that their versions of evidence could not have been true. "You really don't have to practice the truth," Cannick told jurors. "The truth will ring out and endure forever, if it's the truth." Notable to note in his flashy closing arguments at the time, Devereux Cannick concluded the singer's New York trafficking trial by insisting, just like any of us would certainly do, that R. Kelly was not a predator because of his victims' lavish lifestyle. From R. Kelly's accusers' own statements, there is no evidence to show that he forced them to do anything against their will but rather stayed with him to reap the benefits of travel, shopping sprees and expensive dinners. From all aspects, it's also obvious and easy to comprehend the fact that Robert Sylvester Kelly is a generous and kind person who loves women around him, just like family, and treats them preciously. Unfortunately though, his loyalty has not been reciprocated because of greed. Victimizing him definitely seemed a shortcut to having access to his huge sums of hard-earned money. It's quite surprising how in criminal cases, fame and celebrity can turn alleged victims into alleged predators and vice versa. R. Kelly gave these women a lavish lifestyle. That's not what a predator is supposed to do. In today's world, young women, older and underage alike, throw themselves at these stars with visions of celebrity conquest, setup and dollar bills dancing in their heads. Surprisingly again, most of these young women's parents are usually in the know and go on to the extent of coaching them on the tricks to employ and hooking these stars up. R. Kelly is no exception. With his fame and money, he had to experience a crowd of young and beautiful women swarming towards him. It is very unfortunate that he didn't figure out their intentions early enough to escape their well-orchestrated and collaborated setups. We can also try to look at and analyze the kind of female friends R. Kelly is alleged to have abused. The majority of them came from moderate families and couldn't afford to have the dollar aspect out of the equation. It's also not that easy to achieve real celebrity status simply because you are relating with one. R. Kelly, just like any other people in the entertainment industry, cannot have great boundaries, and that can be challenging for someone who is not used to it. Watching people become flirtatious or throw themselves at your partner because they are a celebrity is a tough experience for the other partner who is not. It takes a very secure person to relate with a celebrity and be able to handle it. R. Kelly's alleged victims were none of the kind. We can't also forget the fact that R. Kelly at one time criticized the parents of Joycelyn Savage and Azriel Clary during an interview with Gayle King, asserting the fact that they had sold their daughters to him and were later upset because they weren't making the money they expected to make from him. Despite R. Kelly's efforts to explain the source of his ordeal, a cross-section of people didn't believe him, not until both the two women and their parents got misunderstandings and spilt the beans. What kind of father? What kind of mother would sell their daughter to a man? Kelly asked. How come it was okay for me to see them until they were no longer getting money from me? He asked. R. Kelly further revealed that Joycelyn's father, Timothy Savage, had actually enabled the two meetings they had together with the hope that Savage would become his musical protege. At that time R. Kelly was 56 and living with both women in his Chicago apartment. Unlike their parents who were accusing him of mistreating their daughters, the two women were visibly living a lavish lifestyle. With this controversy worsening, they eventually reached a point where they bitterly disagreed with their parents about R. Kelly to the extent of cutting off links with them. Interesting to note is the fact that even when R. Kelly was behind bars, the two women were living in the lavish Trump Tower apartment and did not lack anything. This lifestyle was all being funded by R. Kelly, their alleged abuser. Sarcastically, once a family member of one of R. Kelly's girlfriends said she would have supported the prosecutors if they had found R. Kelly guilty of pampering women with so much luxury, that they become dependent and didn't want to leave him when they actually could. Though this particular girlfriend was not an aspiring singer like Joycelyn, the family member revealed she was free to leave R. Kelly's pads in Illinois and Georgia on multiple occasions unaccompanied to visit family. She has never stayed longer than a week and always returned to Kelly, who she describes as her man. So why did she stay R. Kelly if she was being abused? Reliable sources say the women had been flown to Beverly Hills for shopping sprees, and R. Kelly also used to buy them high-priced handbags, lingerie, shoes and spa trips for all of the girlfriends. We're told that R. Kelly openly said he wanted to shower them in luxury. Astonishingly, this is the kind of abuser the government now has in prison. Resulting from R. Kelly's tense interview with Gayle King, Joycelyn Savage and Azriel Clary, the two young women who were then living with R. Kelly, defended him and denied allegations that he had programmed them, and that he had been holding them against their will. Both women said that their parents made those assertions under untruthful pretenses and were out for money, something that Savage's parents denied in an interview with King. Today, it is quite amusing to see how events have turned around to an extent that Tim Savage now believes R. Kelly is not 100% guilty and prays for his retrial. We all know that the appeal for the New York trial sentence is around the corner. R. Kelly and his legal team led by Jennifer Bonjean have already highlighted a lot of flaws, misinterpretations of the law and issues to do with injustice in the appeal brief. With such an articulate and experienced attorney as Bonjean, we are very optimistic that the appeal process will be a walkover this time. For the rest of us who support and wish R. Kelly regains his deserved freedom can follow the appeal process keenly optimistic that by the end of the appeal process, he will be a free man. We want R. Kelly to walk back home and resume doing what he does best, give us more new music to enjoy. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.